Hey there, and thank you so much for tuning back in. This video is about all the books I read this year to create success online in an awesome way, because it's not just about executing, but sometimes you need to sit back and reflect a little bit, and I do that by reading. Now, I don't read a ton because I'm extremely busy, so usually in the weekend I have literally 2 to 3 hours to read, and I thought well, I guess I read one or two books this year, but I read way more, and in this video I will share it with you because those books, they really inspired me, so I hope that these titles will do the same for you. So this is what you will get from this video. You will get some ideas for interesting reads. I will give a pitch on each book that I found worth reading, and also I will summarize what I got from each book and why it was worth my time. Now, and full disclaimer, this does not contain books that I didn't enjoy, so if I don't enjoy a book I usually put it to the side and I don't finish it. So this is only the best of the best, so let's get right in. Now, the first book, and this is actually my number one, The 50th Law, and I read this actually at the beginning of the year, and I was reluctant to read it because even though I'm a huge fan of Robert Greene, the strategist, I was reluctant to pick this one up because the 48 Laws, it's extremely long, and I figured well, this is gonna be something in that vein. But actually this one is very different because it was a collaboration between Robert Greene and 50 Cent, and basically it was a biography of 50 Cent, but also leaning in on power laws, and I found it way more interesting than I anticipated, and also the sort of read is also very different from the 48 Laws, because this one you can literally read it in a couple of days. It's a nice read, it's an easy read, it's interesting, it's engrossing, it's riveting, it's all of those things, and that's why I can highly recommend it. And so, like I said, it's about 50 Cent. He grew up in a ghetto, and he really built an empire for himself. And it's about how he did it, and the mindset, the principles and the ideas behind all that. And yeah, Robert Greene just did an amazing job there because he's all about power laws, and if you want to create something, you need to lean into that just a little bit, and that's what definitely happened in the book. Now, there were a couple of things that I really took from this. The first of which was to remove all leaning sticks. And leaning sticks are things that keep you dependent. So, for example, if you have a drug habit, you drink a lot or you use other sorts of drugs a lot, that's a leaning stick. And those things, that will always keep you weak, because then there's always a time of the day or the time of the week when you just need your fix, and if you can remove that from your life, you're way better for it, and it will help you to become a sort of a ninja, who can wake up at 3 a.m. and be ready for whatever comes his way. And that's sort of what this leans into, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years actually, and it has made a huge benefit. Now, also full disclosure, it also was partly because we started having kids, and our life just got so extremely busy. So I really need to figure out what can I do to up my game, to have more energy, to be more present. And this was actually one of the things that confirmed it. Those leaning sticks, they can really be detrimental. And yeah, another leaning stick that you may not expect is a diet. If you have a diet that's high in sugars, then your body will get dependent on that. You need your sugar fix all the time, and things like that, they're all leaning sticks. Now, also, another full disclosure, my only leaning stick that I still permit in my life is a good cup of coffee. It's something I enjoy, it's something that I do that usually towards the end of the morning or the beginning of the afternoon, and it gives me just a little boost to keep on going. That would be technically a leaning stick, but that's the only one I permit because I just enjoy it, and I don't think it's too bad. Although I kind of need it every day, so it's still a leaning stick. Now, also, what 50 Cent is really big on is to be a realist. And a realist basically is someone who studies the plan. So it's about learning how to trust your instinct, like you basically study the world around you continuously, and based on that you come up with your own conclusions. And this is actually a skill that I have found to be extremely beneficial, and I've only been doing that for the last decade or so. And yeah, for example, like the stock market, that's one of those things. Like it highly depends on how you see the world around you, and based on that idea, you choose certain stocks of which you think like those will be successful. And it's something that I started doing yeah, just after our oldest son was born, and I have shadowed it for a couple of years before that. And being a realist, it really has made the difference there, because with being a realist, like you start trusting your instincts, like yeah, I think this is how the world is going to work, and I think this is how it's going to move forward, and I think in the future this is going to be a bigger thing. And also, like on this journey of you know, creating success online in an awesome way, also totally leans on being a realist, because it's definitely not a straight line. It's like there are like dots that I connect, and it's like up, down, to the left, right, and that's the nature of building something online. And being a realist definitely is very beneficial, because it allows you to actually observe like what's going on, and I mean beyond data points, and to make decisions. And these are more like instinctual decisions, but once you get the hang of it, there's no going back. And that's what being a realist is. And 50 Cent, he attributes a huge part of his success to that, because you know, once you stop being a realist, that's when the game stops. Like life is an infinite game, so the idea is to keep on playing as long as possible. And once you're like you know, you're leaning back and you think like, yeah man, I got it, and I don't need to do nothing anymore, that's when you stop being a realist. But that's also where you start becoming irrelevant. And so the whole point here is be a realist. It's like one of the big takeaways. Now, another thing I got from this book is a statement like, don't wish for things to be different, but take massive action. And this is something that, of course, is not only being said by 50 Cent in the 50th Law, but this is something that I hear it all over, and from all different angles, from all sorts of people, from all walks of life. I don't talk with them, I see it on YouTube, or sometimes I talk with them. It's that sort of intensity, like I'm gonna make this thing, it's gonna happen. And it's almost a sort of delusion, but that's the sort of massive action that can actually create things and make a better future. So yeah, my number one for 2025 definitely was the 50th Law. Now the next one, and this one, actually, in all honesty, it could have been a really short YouTube video, but still I have it here because I think it's an important idea, and it's relevant, and it goes with different names. Yeah, sometimes it's being called like the lonely chapter, when it's cold, wet and lonely and you don't know where to go. And that's where you push through, and that's the idea of the dip. Like when you start anything worthwhile, there's going to be, at the beginning, there's going to be an incremental growth. Things are going easy, or in easy mode, and then after some time, it turns out that, that was the little bump, and then it seems like everything is flatlining. And that's like a constant in life. And initially I thought like it applied mostly to my day job and mostly to building a business, but I think this is like something very universal. Like things take time, and for things to really happen, like I think it takes years, like 5 to 10 years, to really create something worthwhile and something that's going to work. And that's what the dip is all about. And the idea here is that most people, they give up too early. And there's like this expression like, most people give up 3 feet before striking gold. And that means like, it's hard. Like when you're in a dip, like there are very few indicators that you're on the right way. There, there are no people using your product really. It's not really good as yet. If you're writing a novel or anything like that, you know, it's not really the stuff that's gonna jump off the page and that's gonna pull people in, and it's not there yet. But the idea here, the bigger idea, is to push through, because if you push through, if you go through the stuff that sucks basically, and that's not worth it, that's when you can get to the better stuff on the other side. Now, and I'm very much aware of this at all times, but it doesn't mean it's easy, because there are so many times when I'm like, I started working one day less. I want to make some money. You know, that's like the big goal. I wanted to work out at some point in time, but when is it going to work out? We all have those worries. And that's what the dip is about. It's about the willingness to take a loss for a longer period of time and to just push through, to massively believe that things are going to work out, and doing the stuff anyway. And like with these sorts of videos, like I have no guarantee that this is going to work out, that this video is going to be the one that's going to snowball into something else. But still I'm doing it, because still I believe it's important. I'm a realist. I'm studying, you know, the world around me. I think that this is going to be massively valuable at some point in time. Maybe not this video, but one of the videos, or all those videos combined on this channel. And I just have to push through. And so that's the big idea here. So there is a lonely chapter. It's going to be hard. It's going to be cold, wet, lonely. You're going to be hungry. You're going to feel like, am I doing the right thing? And should I not be doing something else? And the idea is to push through. But also, on a side note, yeah, at some point in time you also need to be realistic. And that's the only side note I have to the dip, is like at some point in time you need to have some metrics. Like if you're just pushing through and there's like no progress, that's okay. But there need to be some indicators on the way. Like if the indicators are not there, then at some point in time you just have to make the difficult decision to pivot towards something else. And this is really something that I learned this year as well. Like what I started with, like in August of 24, like my DIY channel, Jalmer Builds Things. I thought like, yeah man, this is something I enjoy. I'm getting some views with it, and this is going to be the one thing. And then after a year, I saw that the views, they were not quite there. So I was like, okay, I need to make a shift here. So I made some adjustments, and then for 2 months I tried it out. I got some more views, but it wasn't worth it. Like people, they came in and they left, and I was not able to build an audience. And it was a really hard decision, because I invested so much time in it. Like emotionally, I was really connected to this thing, but I had to make the difficult decision to like pivot to the next thing, and that's this thing here, like Silent Watcher, the Silent Watchers, and Boring Fiction for Sleep, and all the other products that I'm gonna build around it. So, side note: be realistic, have some metrics, but also push through the dip. Now the third book, and this one, I kind of liked it, but I wouldn't exactly say like this is my number 3, but still it was too valuable to say like this wasn't a good read. The thing with 7-figure fiction is like it's about universal fantasies. The thing is that the idea here, it's there, but it's not well crystallized. So I cannot give you like a one-liner like this is a universal fantasy, and that's like kind of the problem here. But when you see a universal fantasy, you will be able to confirm like, I get what it's about. Now, this book, like what I got out of it is like it's about framing. Like it's about framing a story or a product in terms of universal fantasies to get a better understanding as to what makes it really good. Now, and for example, like when it's about writing fiction, because like that's the aim of this this book. Then it's about telling a good story, literally a good story. Like the story itself is like the whole product here. So let's just go to Gemini, because what I did here, I linked seven-figure fiction and my third novel, The Birdman, to a prompt. And well, you see the prompt here. So use the definition and examples from the attached book, seven-figure fiction, and use that to analyze the universal fantasies in my novel, The Birdman, also attached. So like a really short prompt. And Gemini has become good at these sorts of analysis. So that's why I think it's going to be pretty accurate, not 100%, but this is my novel that I feel the strongest about, and it points out some universal fantasies. Now, so the first one, the fantasy of rebellion and justice over tyranny. And the secret desire is then the human desire to dismantle a corrupt, flawed system. Now, the next one is the fantasy of primal power and instinct. So, you know, we all would like to have some primal power, and that's a universal fantasy that's being explored here. The fear of hidden evil and the loss of control. So, something really bad is going down, and it actually is winning. It's like a really strong universal fantasy, and the fantasy of the scrappy survivor. And you know, let me read this a little bit because I'm not really understanding it. So the secret desire, the reassurance that when the world descends into chaos, ordinary, decent people will still be capable of finding strength and purpose to survive, endure, and to rebuild. So that's like the whole thing here. Like the universal fantasies, I kind of get it. It's kind of something I can figure out, but I don't get it 100%. Now, in all honesty, this is one of the books that I should go back to, because I have the understanding, kind of, but not fully. And when I was reading it, I really felt like there is something valuable in here. And like yesterday, I skimmed through all the books, and I thought I had it figured out, like, okay, this is what I liked about it, but I need to go back to this, but still, I want to mention it here in this video. Now, next up, The Inner Game of Tennis, and this is a really short book, and the idea is really powerful. Like, the idea is that there are like two selves. Like, self one is like aware and rational, and self two is like the internalized self. So, and that's the one that's actually executing things. So, for example, and this is about tennis. Like, if you want to practice your backhand, what you do basically is like you observe like someone doing it like 50 times, and then you just believe that you can do it. Because if you start to overthink it, you're not going to be able to do it. But self 2 is like the internalized version of that. And it sounds a little bit out there, but it's the same principle I applied to this presentation, for example. Like for this video, I prepared this by writing out everything in this this Google Sheet, and I skimmed the books, and then I just trust myself to be able to come up with a coherent story. And this is a very powerful idea, because self one, if you let self one do that, if you start overthinking, like, okay, I'm gonna say this, like how you did it in school back in the days, like a piece of paper, like I need to say this sentence exactly, that's gonna be extremely hard. But if you just believe, if you just have the confidence that self two is able to do that, that's actually when you get into a flow state, and then you figure out like, hey, I was able to do this. I was able to to talk about this off the cuff, and I was able to use my backhand or whatever sports you're in and whatever thing you want to practice. So to summarize it, self 1 is the overthinker and the critic. Self 2 is executing based on the internalized knowledge. And I started doing that ever since. So you basically soak up all the knowledge and simply believe that self 2 will succeed. So this was a really powerful book, and this is one that I highly, highly recommend. Now, next up, the story paradox, and this one is the idea that everything is a story, and that's really something that's being unpacked here. And tell a better story, create a more valuable product. That's the short of it. Now, this is a very simple idea, and well, let me just give you an example. So the mastermind that I attended in Las Vegas, it took place in what was called the Barbie house, and it's on the pictures it looked like a villa with you know, an extreme decor, Barbie inspired. And when we came there, it was basically a family house in the suburbs, and yes, it was decorated in the Barbie style, but because of that they were able to charge a lot of money. It was like a house that would normally cost maybe like $400 a night on Airbnb, but because of that story, because of the Barbie infusion, they were able to charge $2,000 a night. And that's like the whole idea here. Like they told a story by the decoration, and because of that they created value. And that's basically the short of this here. And so much depends on storytelling, and yeah, this is one of the books I read this year. Now, and this one is the really big one that I read. This one took me I think 2 to 3 months to go through, and remember, I only read in the weekend for like 2 to 3 hours. Art of Seduction, and I need to read it again. It was a really powerful read, and the short of it is that people want to be seduced, and that's like the bigger game that you can play to create anything worthwhile. And you need to be mindful as well, because seduction, it's like like a skill that you can develop, and also yeah, it comes down to creating an elaborate fantasy, and it's a game. Like if you don't play it the right way, the fantasy is not going to work, and the whole game, it falls apart. So it was a really interesting read. It was really intense. I spent months on it, and now that it comes down to it, I have a hard time putting it into words. So this is like I would say like a classic Robert Greene book. Like you can spend months reading it, and if you read it from like beginning to end, it's gonna be like wow, yeah, this is really something, and then it's really hard to put it into words. But if you use it as a resource, which I'm gonna do in the coming year, to read like parts of it like when I feel like it, that's the way to read this. And this also ties into my continuous reread. I read this years ago, The 48 Laws of Power, and it's really interesting. It's very relevant in all parts of life, but it's something to reread. It's something to not consume like from A to Z, but to sit down with, like you read like a certain section, and that's when it becomes valuable. Now, and yeah, about the 48 laws, let me just pull up yeah, a document that I have. Like, so the laws, basically, I have them here to the side, and basically the way I approach it is like when I see something interesting happen in my life or the world around me, I always go back to the 48 laws, like how does this apply? And for example, what I see happen on and off in my day job is like law 1, like people don't abide by law 1, never outshine the master. And that's when you know, people lose their jobs, basically. That's always what ends up happening. And law 3, like you know, it's like a natural tendency to be like an open book, but it's much wiser to conceal your intentions, to create like a little mystery, to throw some breadcrumbs. And this one ties into that, like always say less than necessary. Like for example, in a one-take video like this, it's very tempting to just lay it all out, to tell everything, but it's much more powerful to say less. So the 48 laws, it's like a constant reread, and I think this is the one that I will reread over the holidays, together with The Art of Seduction. And yeah, what I keep getting out of it is like confirmations or ideas for upping my power game, poking holes in power games of others, and it's a creed for living life. It's that good. If you never read it, definitely start with this one, out of all the books that I mentioned here. Now, what I want to improve moving forward in 26 is copywriting. I think this is applied psychology, and this is really something I want to get much better at. Yeah, this is what I will dive into on my free day, when I can have some time spent on reading. And so expect also a video on this summer in 26. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got something out of it. So drop in the comments below, like which books did you enjoy in 2025, and also let me know how can I make these videos more to your liking. So that's it. That's the video.